Shalom. Before I begin this video, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually rule well. And shalom to the hopeful elect that is also pushing this gospel throughout the four corners of the earth in all faith, truth, and sincerity, and giving all diligence. Now, the topic of this video is gonna be a revisitation of the Gentile issue. All right, in which really, man, is not even supposed to be an issue, because it's just that, you know, you got guys that that call themselves Israelites that's in these other Israelite camps. It's just a matter of them not understanding the scriptures, because the thing about the Gentiles is an easy concept. It takes common sense to realize that when the scriptures speak about the Gentiles, specifically in the New Testament, that word Gentile may have one definition where it may be an actual Gentile of another nation, or another definition of the word Gentile, which means an Israelite foreigner. All right, and that's what not only these people that call themselves Israelites, but you also have Jake that's in the world that believe that the Gentile is talking about the other nations, in which they get it misconstrued, because even the Lord, whom the world intimately called Jesus, which his name is Yahweh Shai, he himself told his disciples that don't go into the way of the Gentiles. All right, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And that's what the scripture means by the Gentiles when it speaks about, you know, Paul making his journeys, speaking to the Gentiles, which is the Israelite foreigners. All right, and like I said before, it's an easy concept to understand, man. I mean, it's common sense, you know. But like I said before, you know, it's just that the Lord has these people in a trick bag to where they won't be able to understand it, and we know this. That's why we don't lose sleep over it. All right, because we understand that only a select number of men will be able to understand it. All right. And not only that, it's just that, you know, it's written in the scriptures, and, you know, they just overlook it, man. All right, because for one thing, they're all about their own agenda. All right, it's not the agenda of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. It's their own agenda, is their own belly that they're trying to fill. All right, just to make a point, just to get at us. All right, just to throw our names out there in the spotlight, to, you know, saying that we're going off, you know, not knowing that, you know, these guys are doing it maliciously. That in turn, which makes them, you know, go into the scriptures and completely break them down wrong. Okay. So the thing about the quote unquote Gentile issue, we addressed it over and over again, and, you know, and we have to keep going over it over and over again for you know, just to clean up their mess that they made. All right, it's like doing a certain particular job. You know, you got your task or whatever, and you do that task. You know, it might be cleaning or something. You have to clean a certain spot or whatever, a certain department, and, you know, you got a coworker, right, that comes in and just messes everything up, man. Throw papers everywhere. You know, it's all unorganized, you know, spilling, you know, liquids, you know, water and soda or whatever. That's these other guys, man. They're that coworker that comes in and messes everything up, man. All right. That's why we get on these guys, and that's why we rebuke them, man. All right, but not to ramble on too much longer, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the scripture, which is Ephesians chapter 2, starting at verse 11. All right, because like I said before, we had to keep reiterating it over and over again just to show you that the Gentiles in the New Testament that the apostles went to and to teach to, and which Yahushua told us to go to, is the Israelite foreigners, which is the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You can find that in the book of Matthew. All right, Matthew 10, I believe. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and read the scripture. This is verse 11. And another thing too, before you woke up to your true nationality, what were you calling yourself? All right, you was calling yourself a so-called Negro. If you are a so-called Negro, you calling yourself so-called Jamaican, so-called Haitian, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, Cuban, Dominican, or whatever your forefather is. That's what you are. All right. So whatever nationality you are, that's what you call yourself. You call yourself by those bywords, but since you come back into your true nationality, that's when you're coming back into the fold. All right. Now, the thing about being an Israelite foreigner is that you calling yourself by a different nationality, a different name. Back then, you had them calling themselves Greeks. You have some calling themselves Romans, and that's why you have different books in the New Testament, which is named after Romans, Ephesians, Corinthians, Galatians. All right, Colossians. That's why you have those books that are named that way, because those letters are directed towards the Israelite foreigners that are in those lands, like Colossus, Corinth, all right, Ephesus. So you had Israelites back then that were calling themselves some different names, just like you have today. You had them calling themselves Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, so on and so forth. All right. You even got Jake. You even got our people that's calling themselves Irish. All right. Case in point, this guy Conor McGregor. He definitely an Israelite, man. You can see it. That his spirit is shows who he really is, because your spirit shows you who you are. Because you might have a person that might look like a Jake, but he might be an Edomite. He might be an Ishmaelite. You never know, man. It's just you got to tell by his spirit. Okay. So with that, I'm not gonna ramble on too much longer. I know I said that before, but just trying to get the point across, man. Because this is we're passionate about this, man. We're passionate about it, and we're gonna continue to push it, until you get it through your stony head, your stony heart. That's the scripture say. All right. As verse 11, it said, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh." So in other words, you were calling yourself these different names, right? These different nationalities. Okay. It says, "Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands," because back then you had Jews that didn't accept the Israelite foreigners. All right. They didn't accept them. They were being called the uncircumcision, which is the Israelite foreigners, by that which is called circumcision, the ones that know that they're Israelites. All right, in the flesh made by hands. All right, so it's pretty much a bloodline. All right, and the one that they were calling uncircumcision were also the bloodline, but they didn't accept them because, like I said before, they were calling themselves these other nationalities, and therefore they didn't want to accept them. All right, they were calling them heathens. All right, and they were thinking that it was all about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right, which is the southern kingdom, which back then during the Roman era they were called the Jews, which basically consisted of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay. Now it says, verse 12, it says that at that time you were without Yahushua. All right. So back then they said they were out with Yahushua. They didn't know about him, right? Until either him that was coming in the flesh or the apostles told them about Yahushua. Just like today, it said you were without Yahushua, talking about the ones who call themselves these current proverbs and bywords, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, right? And he says, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers right? Foreigners, right? From the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. See, back then you was thinking that this is it, man. You was thinking that this is it. America's, this is where we're gonna be for the rest of our lives. All right, and you didn't know anything about the covenants. All right, you didn't know that the scriptures pertain unto you. You didn't know the law, statutes, commandments belong to you. All right, you didn't know about the promises were directed towards you. All right, by bloodline. Okay. So it says you were strangers from this, right? You was foreigners from this. Okay. And he said you had no hope. So just to get the point across, man, it's just like back then it is today, man. All right. You got those same individuals that didn't want to accept the Israelite foreigners. They're back here today. If you can receive it, then that's what it is. All right. Not everyone can receive that concept. All right, which is reincarnation. Okay, that's exactly what it is. All right. This is why this place called America is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, man. All right. Also, too, this is Rome, pretty much. If you can receive that as well. So with that, pretty much is the point. Just to reiterate that the Gentiles in the New Testament, it can either mean an actual Gentile, or somebody of another nation, or an Israelite foreigner. All right, but if you have the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai on you, you'll be able to decipher which one it's talking about. All right, and that's only what the righteous can do, man, because the scriptures speak about the ways of Yahweh Shem Shai being made plain to the righteous, but are stumbling blocks to the wicked. All right, and you can clearly see that today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this off. Till next time, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually rule well. That rules very well, should I say. And shalom, peace and safety to the hopeful elect that's also pushing this work. All right, pushing this work here strong, man, and all faith, truth, and sincerity. Continually giving all diligence, man, until Yahushua gets back here to deliver us. All right, and with that, I'm going to say shalom.